They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear.
Everyone, Mr. Rowland's here. Hope everyone is well, okay? As you can see, I've got my glasses on today. That is because I never wear my glasses, which means my eyesight's got really bad, which means now I've got to wear my glasses again. So if you need to wear glasses, make sure you wear them, or you're going to be wearing them for the rest of your life. Anyway, I've got my pad with me today to make sure I say everything that I need to say. So we've done that. Now, great work yesterday, guys. Loads of you sent in some fantastic work. It was amazing. Please keep doing that, okay? Now, because of all this great work and because of the interactions on YouTube and because of all the emails that were sent in, I would like to do a few shout outs. So, shouting out people that have sent work in. We've got Blinart, Faris, Race, Dua, Anastasia, Hawad, Ayub, Shaila and Dinesh. Well done. Now, people that were getting in touch on email just to let us know how everything's going, if there are any problems. Evelina, Alicia, Parisa, Anna, Lala and Yamindi. And lastly, people that were interacting with us on YouTube. We've got Anushant, Patrick, Eamon and Jamal. Fantastic. Now, these, I've just shouted out 19 people. We've got about 90 people in the whole year. So it'd be great to see some more work coming in, or to be interacting on YouTube, or to just be sending us an email. Now, the fourth thing I need to say is that when you are doing my English videos, I separate them into Blue Zone and Superstar, okay? The different tasks, okay? Now remember, it is important that you only do the tasks that you need to do. So if you are a Blue Zone, only do the Blue Zone task. If you are a Superstar, only do the Superstar task. If you don't know which one you're in, don't worry, just let me know. And lastly, Spanish Miss Shah has been creating some fantastic work for you and making some great videos and putting them on the YouTube channel. So it would be fantastic if you could send her your work, okay, because she really, really wants to see it. Now, two people that have done that are Anastasia and Blinart, so well done.
I need some help.
Sorry guys, my mom's here. I'll catch you in the English lesson. Goodbye. Sorry Mom, I was just making the intro video. What do you need me to do?
Turn the tap off, Toby.
Anything else?
Pick up the tissues from the floor.
Oh, here we go.
Place the pepper on the mat.
Anything else?
Put the tray in the oven.
Oh. Right, Mum, I can't do anything else. I've got an English lesson to do.
Okay. Bye.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. My mum kept telling me what to do. But you know what? When she was telling me what to do, she was using imperative verbs. So I knew exactly what action to do. That was really helpful for me. Guess what? You'll never guess it. Our lesson today is on imperative verbs. Right, seriously, have a good lesson and enjoy. Hi Year 5, so before we start, I'd just like to talk a bit about presentation. Now, as we've just seen in the previous part of this video, loads of you have been sending in amazing work, okay, and that is so good. Now, it is really important that when you hand in the work, if you can, that the presentation is also very good. Now, this is important because it really helps me to look at what you are doing and see if I can help you if you need some help, or if it's good, I can tell you it's really good. If it's really messy, then it can be quite hard to do that. So if you can improve the presentation, that would be really helpful. So here are some examples of students who have really done some nice presentation. So here we have Anastasia's work. So if you see, look at the arrow, the LI and the date, okay, is very nicely done and the work is nicely laid out, and I can clearly see what the work is, and I can give Anastasia feedback. Right, the next is Hawad's work. Now Hawad's is a bit different because he didn't have line paper, but as I said yesterday, that's absolutely fine. Okay, he's clearly got the LI and the date, so I know exactly what he's doing, and the work is nicely laid out. Well done, Hawad. And then lastly, and it's very different again, is Ayub's work. Now Ayub's work, he did his on the computer, which is absolutely fine and means he can easily send it to me. And his LI and date are also very clear, and the rest of his work is very clear. So that means I can give him really good feedback. Okay, so well done, Ayub, and hopefully now moving forward, if you can and you're sending in work, try and make that presentation a tiny bit clearer. But anyway, it is all good. So, on to our lesson today. What are you going to need for the lesson? As always, you're going to need something to write with and paper. Lined paper is better, so if you can get this, then fantastic. And also the imperative verbs word map, which can be found on the Year 5 section of the online learning on the Grange website. Now, at this point, as always, if you do not have these things, please pause the video, go and get them, and then press play when you are ready to start the lesson. Excellent. Well, welcome back, everybody. So, the LI today is to use imperative verbs. Okay, so your first task is to write the LI and the date. So please pause the video, complete that task, and then press play when you're ready to carry on. Super. So we're now going to move on to our starter. Why do we need to write instructions in chronological order? So that is your question, okay? Now you can either speak to a family member about this question or you can write it down in your paper. So pause the video, complete that starter, and when you have finished it, press play, and I will go through it with you. Welcome back. I hope you've written something nicely down or you had a really good discussion. So the question was, why do we need to write instructions in chronological order? We need to write instructions in chronological order so that we can successfully teach someone what we want to achieve. For example, making chocolate. All right, so if we're making chocolate and if we write the steps to making chocolate in any random order, the person following the steps will most likely fail. So remember yesterday we had the example of the steps being not in chronological order, they're in the wrong order. And the first step was to put boiling hot water on chocolate. And the chocolate was just on the table, so it went everywhere and there was just boiling water, so the person wasn't able to make the chocolate. So that's why it's really important to write your steps, your instructions in chronological order. Super, so these are all of our key features. Okay, these are all of our key features. Okay, so yesterday, next to the blue oval, we did chronological order. Now we have got a new oval. How exciting! It is a red oval and it is next to what we are doing today, which is imperative, also known as bossy verbs. So I've got a question for you. I want you to discuss this with a family member, or if you don't have a family member there, just think it through in your head. What is a verb? Okay, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to think about that, and off you go. And I'm going to stop you there. I hope that was a good discussion or you had a nice think to yourself. So what is a verb? Verbs are words which describe an action, occurrence, or state. Okay, now we've got some examples here. The man is running. Okay, so running is the verb as it is describing the man's action. Okay, now the ice cream is melting. Okay, the verb is melting as it is describing the state of the ice cream. So they're describing doing words. Okay, remember that. We all know that. You should know that by now. If you don't worry. Please just send me an email so I can help you out and give you some extra support on that. Now, another question I'd like you to think about. Can you think of any other verbs? Now, what I want you to do is pause the video, think of them, and then write them in the comments below of this video, okay, and then press play when you have done that. Excellent. So I hope to see lots of comments in there of your verbs. Now, a very important question. What is an imperative verb? Now, some of you should know this, and what I want you to do is discuss this with a family member or think it through to yourself if you do not have a family member. What is an imperative verb? I'm going to give you 20 seconds. Off you go. And I'm going to stop you there. Hope you had a great discussion again, or you had a nice thought to yourself. So what is an imperative verb? Imperative verbs are sometimes known as bossy verbs, okay? They are verbs which tell you what to do. They are often seen at the beginning of a sentence and create a command. Okay, now we're going to look at some examples. If you want to pause the video and have a look at that definition again, that's absolutely fine, and then just press play when you're ready to carry on. Right, so eat your lunch. Okay, eat is our imperative or bossy verb because it is telling you what to do. It's telling you to eat your lunch. Tidy the cloakroom. Tidy is our imperative verb because this is telling us exactly what to do. It's telling us to tidy the cloakroom. Write today's date. Okay, write is our imperative verb because this is telling you what to do. It's telling you to write today's date. And lastly, walk home after school. Walk is our imperative verb because it is telling us exactly what to do. It's telling us to walk home after school. Okay, so if you want to pause the video again and have a look at that, that is absolutely fine, and then just press play when you are ready to continue. Now, this is a very, very interesting question, and this is basically the most important part of the lesson today. Why would we use imperative verbs in instructions? Okay, why would we use imperative verbs in instructions? So basically that question is asking you, why would we forcefully tell someone what to do when we are writing instructions? Okay, why would we forcefully tell them what to do when we are writing instructions? 20 seconds, discuss that with a family member, or have a think yourself if you don't have one with you. And off you go, guys. And I'm going to stop you there because we've got to move on. We've got to keep things moving. So, why would we use imperative verbs in instructions? Okay, I'll be very interested to hear what you have to say. If you want to put a comment below, fantastic, and I will respond to it. So, why would we use imperative verbs in instructions? We use imperative verbs in instructions because we want to ensure that the person who is reading them knows exactly what they need to do. Okay, so if we remember, imperative verbs really forcefully tell us what action we need to do. Okay, now, when you are reading instructions, you don't want there to be any mystery about what you need to do, because then it could all go wrong. You want to know exactly what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how it needs to be done. You just want to do it, you want to get it done, and you want to make whatever you need to make. Okay? You don't want there to be any mystery at all. So we use imperative verbs to make sure that the person who is reading it knows exactly what action they need to do, okay? So they don't make any mistakes and they create the product, whatever they need to do, or follow, or get to the end of the instructions, whatever those instructions are, successfully, okay? Right, just to let you know, if you want to at this point, pause the video, have a look at the this answer again, because this is very important for today's lesson, and then just press play when you are ready to continue. Right, so we're going to move on to our first task for today. Now, this task is for our superstars. You are going to write out the sentences below and underline the imperative verbs. So you've got instructions here, and you need to underline the imperative verbs in each instruction. And this is how you're going to do it. Step 1. Write 1 to 4 on the left-hand side of the page. And this is an example of what to do. Step 2, pick a sentence and write it out, okay? So it's best to do this in chronological order, okay? So go the first one, then the second one, the third one, the fourth one. So I'm going to go, for this example, I'm going to go with the first one. So first get 2 slices of bread, which is here, the first one. You get 2 slices of bread, so that's step 2. And then step 3 is to underline the imperative verb. So get is the imperative verb as it's giving us the action, what we need to do. When you say get 2 slices of bread, again, I'm going to underline it. And now you're going to now do the second instruction, the second step, the third step, and the fourth step, and making sure you follow all these steps. Excellent. Superstars, after you've done that, fast forward 10-15 seconds and we'll go through the answers. Blue zone, you have got exactly the same task. You're going to write out the sentences and underline the imperative verbs. Okay, so here we have a set of instructions, okay, and you are going to write them out and you're going to underline the imperative verb. So this is how you're going to do it. Step 1, you're going to write numbers 1 to 6 on the left hand side of the page. So there you go, that is a very clear example. Step 2, pick a sentence and write it out. So you're going to pick one of these sentences, one of these steps, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so and you need to do it in chronological order. So I've done the first one, which is first get 2 slices of bread. There you go, I've written it out. First get 2 slices of bread. Step 3 is to underline the imperative verb. Okay, so the imperative verb here is get, and I know that because that's the action which is telling me, forcing me to do, get 2 slices of bread, so I'm going to underline the word get. Now your task is to do the rest of those, making sure you're underlining the imperative verbs and following the steps. Super. Welcome back, superstars. So here are your answers. First, get, that is our imperative verb, 2 slices of bread. The second one, butter, both pieces of bread using a knife, so butter is our imperative verb. Put the pieces of bread together, so put is our imperative verb. Eat the sandwich and enjoy, so eat is our imperative verb. I'm sure all of you have done extremely well. If you haven't, do not worry, just make sure you send me an email so I can give you a bit of extra support. And welcome back to our blue zone people. Here are your answers. First, get 2 slices of bread, so get is our imperative verb. Next, use the knife to spread butter on both sides, so use is our imperative verb. After that, use a knife to spread the jam on top of the butter on one of the slices of bread, so use is our imperative verb. Then put 1 slice of bread on top of the other to make a sandwich, so put is our imperative verb. After that, cut the sandwich in half with a knife, so cut is our imperative verb. And finally, eat it, so eat is our imperative verb. Now again, I'm sure loads of you have done, most of you have done very, very well. If you haven't quite done so well, don't worry, just remember to drop me an email so I can give you some extra support. Super. And I would like to welcome everybody back. Okay, so now this is the task you're going to do by yourselves. I'm not going to give you the answers, but I'd really like you to send it to me on the Year 5 email so I can have a look and give you some feedback. So superstars, this is your task. You are going to write instructions for making a blueberry jam sandwich using imperative verbs, and you can only use a maximum of 4 instructions, and then you need to underline the imperative verb. So you're going to write instructions for making a blueberry sandwich, and you must use imperative verbs in them. You can only have 4 steps and you must underline the imperative verb, and this is how you are going to do it. Step 1, write 1 to 4 on the left hand side of the page like this. Step 2, you need to create your first step. So first, get 2 slices of bread. That was the one I've done for you, and you need to write it on your page. Okay, you don't have to use this one, this is just the one that I have created. First, get 2 slices of bread. And then step 3 is to underline the imperative verb. So the imperative verb I have used is get. Okay, get 2 slices of bread. Okay, and then now your task is to do the same. You're going to create instructions, write them out like this, and underline the imperative verbs. Superb. Now, to help you, okay, you have this. You have imperative verbs here, so you can use these if you want. Look through them, see which ones you may like. And remember, this resource is on the Year 5 section of the online learning on the Grange website, so you can get that from there, or you can just look at it on here. Now, superstars and blue zone, okay, I'm just going to say this now while I've got all of you here because the superstars are about to go off. Okay, fantastic work today. Keep it up, people, and I will check in with you tomorrow, and I really look forward to seeing all of your work together. So bye bye, superstars, and make sure you stay on to our blue zone people. Goodbye. Blue zone, so I've just got you now. Superb. So this is your task, very similar to the superstars. You're going to write instructions for making a blueberry jam sandwich using imperative verbs, and you must have a minimum of 5 instructions. Okay, you must also underline the imperative verbs in each step. So you're going to create a set of instructions using imperative verbs. You have to have a minimum of 5 instructions, and I want you to underline the imperative verb in each step. So this is how you're going to do it. Step 1, write at least 1 to 5 on the left hand side of the page. So I've done 1 to 6. You can do 1 to 7, 1 to 8, however many you want, but minimum 1 to 5. So that's your first step. Step 2, create a step and write it out. So create a step for your your first step. So I've just done the first one. So create a step and write it out. I've done the first one and write it down. So first, get 2 slices of bread. There you go. And then the third step is to underline the imperative verb. So the imperative verb here is get. Okay, get 2 slices of bread. Remember, it is the imperative verb because it is what is forcefully telling us what action we need to take. So get, and I've underlined it. And now you need to create your own set of instructions, minimum of 5, and underline the imperative verbs. Superb, Blue Zone. Goodbye. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing your work. Goodbye.